Hello and welcome to today's English learning lecture. Have you ever stopped for a moment and asked yourself why English has so many different words that all seem to describe something from the past, yet each one carries a completely different meaning and emotion? Why do we say ancient civilization, antique object, and historic moment instead of using just one simple word for all of them? What is the real difference hidden behind these words that makes native speakers choose them so carefully? Today we are going to explore this deeply and in a very interesting way. By the end of this lecture, you will not only understand the words ancient, antique, and historic, but you will also feel confident using them naturally in your speech, writing, storytelling, and even in professional communication. This is not just vocabulary learning, this is meaning learning, context learning, and thinking in English. Let us begin with a simple idea. Language is not just about naming things. Language is about expressing exact meaning. And when it comes to describing the past, English becomes very precise. It separates time, value, and importance into different categories. That is exactly why these three words exist. Now let us begin our deep journey with the word ancient. Ancient is a word that immediately takes your mind thousands of years back in time. It is not just old. It is extremely old, so old that it belongs to early human civilization, forgotten kingdoms, early cultures, and the beginning stages of human development. When we hear the word ancient, we imagine dust-covered ruins, broken stone temples, lost languages, and mysterious civilizations that existed long before modern society was born. Ancient is often used for things that are no longer active in modern life. It is used for civilizations, traditions, languages, beliefs, and knowledge systems that belong to a very distant past. It carries a feeling of mystery, depth, and sometimes even respect because ancient things are the foundation of modern life. Now imagine standing in front of a giant pyramid in Egypt. You are not just looking at an old structure. You are looking at ancient history carved into stone. That is the power of the word ancient. It does not just describe age, it describes a completely different era of human existence. Let us explore ancient more deeply through rich examples. Ancient Egypt developed one of the earliest writing systems in human history and built architectural wonders that still amaze the world today. Ancient Greece shaped the foundations of philosophy, mathematics, democracy, and science that influence modern thinking even today. Ancient civilizations often relied on natural resources and simple technologies compared to the advanced systems we use today. Ancient manuscripts preserved in libraries give us insight into how people thought thousands of years ago. Ancient forests in some parts of the world remain untouched by modern industrial development and hold unique ecosystems. In each of these examples, ancient is not just describing oldness. It is describing a world that is far removed from modern life, yet deeply connected to the roots of human development. Now let us move slowly into a very interesting transition. Many learners confuse ancient with antique, but these two words live in completely different worlds of meaning. Ancient is about civilizations and eras. Antique is about objects and things you can touch, see, and collect. The word antique refers to something old that has value, beauty, craftsmanship, or historical importance. Unlike ancient, antique does not refer to entire civilizations or time periods. Instead, it refers to physical objects that come from earlier times, usually preserved because of their artistic or cultural value. An antique object is not just old. It is special because it carries the style, design, and craftsmanship of a past era. It often feels elegant, rare, and valuable. Now imagine walking into a beautifully decorated room filled with carved wooden furniture, old clocks, decorative mirrors, and vintage lamps. Each item tells a story. Each item has survived time. That is the world of antiques. Let us explore antique through rich and natural examples. She placed an antique lamp in her living room that gave the entire space a warm and classical atmosphere. The museum displayed an antique collection of coins from different historical periods. He inherited an antique pocket watch that once belonged to his great-grandfather. Antique furniture is often carefully restored to preserve its original beauty and structure. Collectors around the world spend large amounts of money to acquire rare antique paintings and sculptures. Notice how antique always connects to objects, value, and preservation. It is not about civilization or eras. It is about physical items that survive from the past and carry beauty or significance. Now let us slowly enter the third and most emotionally powerful word, historic. If ancient is about distant time and antique is about valuable objects, then historic is about importance. Historic does not simply mean old. It means something that has changed history or holds great significance in history. A historic moment can happen yesterday, today, or thousands of years ago. Time does not decide historic value. Impact decides historic value. This is a very important concept to understand. Something can be very recent and still be historic if it changes the direction of society, politics, science, or human life. Now imagine watching a live event where a major agreement is signed between two countries that have been in conflict for years. That moment is not ancient. It is not antique. It is historic because it changes the future. Let us explore historic in more depth through meaningful examples. The scientist made a historic discovery that changed the way doctors treat life-threatening diseases. The country celebrated a historic Independence Day marking freedom after decades of struggle. It was a historic decision that reshaped the education system for future generations. The athlete achieved a historic victory that broke long-standing world records. The speech delivered by the leader became a historic moment remembered for decades. In all these examples, historic is used because something important happened that had a strong impact on history or society. Now let us slow down and connect all three words in a way that your mind will never forget. Ancient is about time so far back that it feels almost disconnected from modern life. Antique is about objects from earlier times that are valuable and preserved. Historic is about importance and impact, not age. Now let us make this even more powerful through imagination. Think of a single place like a museum. Inside that museum you may find ancient fossils that are millions of years old. You may also find antique furniture that belonged to kings and queens. And you may read about historic events that shaped entire nations. One place, three different meanings of past. Now let us go even deeper into understanding through real-life situations so that your brain starts recognizing these words automatically. If you are reading a history book and you see the phrase ancient civilization, you now know it refers to early human societies like Egypt, Mesopotamia, or Indus Valley. If you go to a cultural market and see old decorative items, you will correctly identify them as antique objects. If you watch the news and hear about a major political agreement, you will understand that it is a historic event. This is how language becomes natural. Not by memorizing, but by connecting meaning with real life. Now let us explore some common mistakes learners make, and correct them in a simple and natural way. Many learners say antique civilization, which is incorrect. Civilizations are not antiques. Civilizations are ancient. Some learners say ancient chair, which is also incorrect because chairs are objects. They should be antique chairs. Some learners say historic tree, which is usually incorrect unless the tree is connected to a major event. Otherwise, It is just old or ancient depending on context. Now let us make the learning even more engaging by exploring the emotional feeling behind each word. Ancient creates a feeling of mystery and wonder. It makes you think about lost worlds and forgotten knowledge. Antique creates a feeling of beauty and elegance. It makes you appreciate craftsmanship and artistic value. Historic creates a feeling of importance and respect. It makes you realize that something meaningful has changed the course of time. So these words are not just vocabulary. They are emotional tools in language. Now let us do a deeper style explanation to strengthen your understanding. Ancient is often used in academic writing, archaeology, and storytelling. Antique is often used in art, design, decoration, and collecting. Historic is often used in news, speeches, education, and important announcements. Now let us imagine a story that brings all three words together naturally. A historian visits an ancient ruin in a desert where an ancient civilization once lived. Inside the ruins, he discovers antique objects that were used in daily life centuries ago. Later, he publishes his research, and his findings lead to a historic discovery that changes the understanding of human history. Now all three words exist in one story, but each plays a different role. Let us now reinforce memory with a simple thinking pattern. When you think ancient, think civilizations and distant past. When you think antique, think objects and preserved beauty. When you think historic, think importance and impact. Now let us make your speaking more natural with a repetition exercise. Ancient means extremely old and related to early civilizations. Antique means valuable old objects. Historic means important events in history. Now try saying it in your mind again slowly and clearly because repetition builds confidence. Ancient refers to civilizations and distant history. Antique refers to valuable old objects. Historic refers to important moments and events. Now let us go even deeper into advanced understanding. In professional English, choosing the correct word shows intelligence and precision. If you are writing essays, giving presentations, or speaking in interviews, using ancient, antique, and historic correctly makes your English sound mature and natural. Instead of saying very old history, you can say ancient history. Instead of saying old furniture, you can say antique furniture. Instead of saying very important event, you can say historic event. This simple shift instantly upgrades your English level. Now let us slowly bring everything together in a final powerful understanding. Ancient connects you to the birth of human civilization. Antique connects you to preserved beauty from the past. Historic connects you to moments that change the course of life. 3 words, 3 meanings, one concept of time but different dimensions of understanding. Now ask yourself again the question we started with. Why do we need 3 different words for the past? Because the past is not one single idea. The past has layers. Some parts of the past are ancient and unreachable. Some parts of the past are preserved as antiques. Some parts of the past are historic and still shape our present. And when you understand this, you are not just learning English anymore. You are learning how language organizes human experience. Thank you for staying through this detailed and engaging lecture. Keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep observing these words in real life. The more you notice them, the more naturally they will become part of your speech.